Hello, everyone. Some years ago, there's this cult classic gangster movie called The Goodfellas, starring De Niro, Pacino, and Pesci. Today in my studio, we have the Singapore's nightlife version of The Goodfellas, and they are Lim, Lu, and Fu. Upon which two of them, I'm very happy to have them back on my show again. I have Michel Lu, and I have Mr. Dennis Fu, and I have Bernard Lim. Finally, Bernard Lim's with me on this gig. Finally.
Thank you.
And very, very good of you guys to be here on board with Kopi With Chris. And we have on the table, well, Dennis has got Kopi as well as whiskey. I have Kopi and whiskey, but Kopi by kind courtesy of our good friends from Kaki. And Kaki is located at Ang Mo Kio Hub, 53 Ang Mo Kio Avenue 3, Basement 1, Units 51B and C. Thank you for the Kopi again for my Kopi Kakis. And whiskey, kind courtesy of Mr. Michel Lu.
Cheers.
And this is called the Orientalist.
It is.
It is a local Singapore brand.
It is a Singapore brand. We produce it in Taiwan, but we have a whiskey, a vodka, and a gin.
Finally, we have something from Singapore. And it's booze. And this particular one is called the Dragon Whisky. Is it?
Dragon Whisky, 8 years, minimum 8 years aged, and a blend of Japanese, Taiwanese, and Indian whiskey, the three Asian whiskey regions.
Wow. And it's so funny, you know why? Because I'm a teetotaler, and when I fell off the damn wagon, it was because Mr. Dennis Fu was with me on my show. And then now he's back again, and now we do the two of you guys. I'm drinking again. Now this thing is supposed to be Kopi With Chris producers, but it's just so happens I'm having whiskey again. But thank you so very much for the whiskey anyways.
Pleasure, thank you.
Guys, I think for the benefit of of our listeners and viewers, we know who Mr. Dennis Fu is because that episode's so recent. This man is a legend. Let me just do this again for you, sir. The man who ran a fantastic enterprise called the Europa Group. And people like me grew up with that group. And believe me, the man who brought music to Singapore, in Singapore to another level is Mr. Dennis Fu. Oh. So he's back again with me. And I have Bernard Lim. Bernard, can you tell everyone who you are, what you're about?
Okay, I am presently working for SPH Radio, which is the business finance music station. Well, not so much business finance money station. It's called Money FM 89.3. Mm-hmm. So we deal with financial stuff, talk to CEOs, etc., etc.
Right.
The not so exciting stuff, right? So I've been in radio all my life. Long ago, I started back as 1992 on the radio as a top 40 music DJ.
Right. For Perfect 10.
Yes, that's right. It was way long ago. And then I did a lot of things in the Singapore Broadcasting Corporation, MediaCorp Radio, etc. Then went out for a while to work for a listed F&B company.
That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. It's called Life Brands.
Right.
In 2007. And then 2009, I was made the CEO of the listed company. So we ran, at the peak, we ran a third of Clarke Quay. So outlets like Ministry of Sound, outlets like Cafe Del Mar, which is in Sentosa, then outlets like Barfly, we did Luna, and of course I became friends with Dennis because Dennis was a fellow operator along the Clarke Quay region. Dennis, of course, he had his own St. James powerhouse, and then he brought in Shanghai Dolly into the Clarke Quay area. So while we were fighting on business, but we're friends, we also hang out for whiskeys and black labels, etc. whenever we could. Yeah. So now I'm back in media again. So I'm only a presenter right now. So I am with Money FM.
Okay. Thank you. And Michael, can you tell all the folks who are watching the show right now what you're all about, who you are, one more time?
Wow.
You were in the show. You were in episode 2, along with some of the other F&B people.
Yeah,
were on my show.
I've been in F&B for a while.
20 years.
That seems kind of short.
I started young. Touching all aspects of clubbing, bars, restaurants, cafes, catering, event management.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a fun journey.
Anything and everything has got to do with F&B. You seem to have had your fingers in it.
I enjoyed it very much.
You
Michael
mentioned
was the founder of Privé, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember going to Privé at Keppel.
Yes, the
That's
first
where-
one.
Yeah.
Yes.
that would include Centro as well, right?
Yes.
Wow. Talk about three big dudes. Really the Goodfellas, man. The Goodfellas on this table.
The one of the best thing about Central, I still remember, was the small club that opened till 4 a.m. or opened at 4 a.m.
Yes, we
yeah.
opened till 7 or 8 o'clock
7
in the
a.m.
morning.
So there was a club that everybody went to. What was the name again?
Lola.
Lola. That's
Lola.
right. I used to remember to at the end of the night we just pop by at Lola just to have a chill drink.
Those were the days when Singapore had a 24-hour entertainment license, and we were one of the few that had that license. So
That 24-hour license thing doesn't exist anymore.
no,
No more. With COVID, definitely not.
I mean-
it's 10:30 now. So
Yeah.
Even before COVID, you mean has that stopped? Did that stop before that? Even?
yes, it stopped a while ago. Yeah.
Why? Why? Sorry, guys, I'm not in the nightlife business, so I need to ask you these simple questions.
24 hours was there. In fact, if I remember correctly, they started with different precincts. So the city area was the first. So Central was there.
Yes.
At in Kopi With Chris, I remember. Fullerton.
Fullerton.
Okay.
So that precinct became the first. Then eventually it went to other parts
Right.
of Singapore, including Orchard Road, and it spread. But then later, I think the authorities pulled back, but not all were affected. It's like Marina area; they still had 24 hours before COVID, and then Orchard some, but Clarke Quay, I think the hours were reduced to 3 a.m. So different sectors they.
But what was the reason for that?
I think maybe I just venture to kind of give a bit of an answer here because you guys are all seniors. Huh? Okay, now the thing is that I think 24 hours is a very good thing to hear, right? You party non-stop
Yeah.
till the sun comes out, right? I mean, remember I used to do that. They come out at 6+ in the morning, like, oh goodness, it is all bright now. And then all your faces, or you're not under the light, so people see your real face under the bright sunlight. But I think what it was good, I think it was also a fact that we do not have the masses in Singapore. I mean, we have limited people going out, and I mean your limited likewise disposable income as well. So like back then, if I recall, in the Clarke Quay days, it's either Clarke Quay is slammed or Zouk was slammed. So it was always this way or another.
Okay.
So I think we just didn't have that huge masses.
How long ago was this, Bernard? When you talk about 24-hour outlets like Central going on, and then you're saying not enough masses. Now that was what, 10 years ago?
Possibly.
So today with 5.6 million people, do you think it would still work if some outlets were to go 24 hours? Will we see the masses?
I think it's also an issue of disposable income as well. Maybe Dennis can jump in here. I think at the end of the day,
Everything got to do with income and
Income, yeah.
capacity to
Exactly.
indulge.
Yeah.
But the thing is, answering your question, whether now
Yeah.
during COVID, the answer is no. You can't
Of course,
go
of course,
beyond
yes.
10:30. Post COVID, we don't know when that will come. But I think the demand will be hampered, substantially. That's why post COVID and what is the state of nightlife in Singapore, I think it's everybody's guest now. So three of us are here to maybe share some views.
Yeah, of course. I
But,
mean, now you just
nobody-
fast forward
yeah.
all my talking points towards the end of the program already. Yeah, really. I mean, actually, that would be. I sometimes I feel like I want to shut this laptop down and just talk without referring to stuff. But there are a couple of things I need to ask first. But since I was talking to Michael, I moved on from you two guys down to Michael. Michael, you mentioned during the last episode you were on with me
Yes.
that you were just about to open a food court at Science Park, right?
Oh no, that's been running for about 4 years now.
Ah,
Yeah, it's been running for about
Okay,
4 years.
okay.
It's really less of a food court and more of an enclave of about 15 to 18 F&B concepts. Yeah.
And
so
now that when phase 2
That's nice
began,
yeah.
when phase 2 began, how's business been there?
It's still challenging because obviously for a business park, the people are still working from home. So that's still difficult for some of the operators. Others have pivoted.
Right.
They have shifted towards deliveries. They've shifted towards a little bit more of a beverage evening business and have been actually quite successful. So there's light at the end of the tunnel.
So, am I right to say, guys, the food business, let's not talk about the night business,
Sure.
they're actually not doing that badly now with phase 2.
I think the fine dining scene is doing incredibly well.
They are?
I think there's got to be at least 10 to 12 restaurants that are above $400 per head at the moment in Singapore. And I think almost all of these guys are pre-booked for 2 months in advance. It's been incredible. Fine dining has been doing extremely well. There are private kitchens that are booked till February 2022. Yeah, they are.
You gotta tell KFC this because he said something different last week.
Yeah.
I mean, now everyone. Okay, anyway, the episode will be aired before you guys. Anyway, and he was volunteering this. He was saying that the fine dining is the one that's gonna be badly hit.
The average spend has gone up at the moment.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, I speak to a lot of the restaurant operators at the moment. The fine dining scene spend is up. I think mainly people cannot travel, so
That is true.
the budget they have for travel, the flights, the hotels are now in the pocket. So, and I think we are all looking for ways to blow off steam. So maybe they're not spending the money in nightlife.
Right.
They cannot spend in nightlife,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So it's apportioned over to the fine dining business.
Yeah.
Actually, prior to engaging the industry, I had the same idea that fine dining shouldn't be doing well. But actually, when hearing, before even hearing Michael mention the state of it,
Yes.
how it's doing so well now. The thing is, one part is the pent up during the circuit breaker.
Sure. Yeah.
Another part is no travel, so people are trapped here. And I think the other one is a good part of nightlife are still closed.
Yes.
So the average check of restaurants who are, in terms of branding and whatnot, fine dining, where they will actually capture more audience. But if you know that most of these venues are having their capacity capped,
Yeah.
so hence the booking,
Yeah.
the demand is
Kept.
is there. In fact, it is stable or even higher than before. And the supply is actually limited by the seats. So hence this, and the compensating factor I reckon would be people are finding it hard to go to places where they can drink. So people dine and drink in the city.
Absolutely.
So the average
Yeah.
check actually go up. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that something what
Yeah, but
Michael mentioned.
I somehow think that for those poor guys who don't have a food license,
Yeah.
those night establishments, clubs, karaoke lounges, good grief.
Yeah.
We in the last 6 months we've seen 59 clubs and lounges wind up. Less than 10% that's left behind said that they would survive. Don't think they would survive to end October if closures continue. Now this is a real tricky situation. I mean, it's a fact we're in a pandemic, and entrepreneurs, all good entrepreneurs anyway, ought to learn how to save for a rainy day, right? But nobody ever thought that we're going to be hit by a pandemic this hard, especially by a pandemic. And now with this, have to consider that we cannot have a second wave, as evident, in Japan and South Korea. The government has said it again and again, right? That we have to learn our lessons from what we see in Japan and South Korea. So therefore, they are taking a deep breath when it comes to reopening the nightlife businesses again in Singapore. But then again, we're about to lose the nightlife business
Yeah.
in Singapore, which to me is painful just thinking about it.
Yeah.
It is. It's painful. We can't. I mean, just in my head, let me tell you what I see. The image in my head is that we're gonna have a bunch of Singaporeans, a whole generation of people growing up being the stoic, stay-at-home.
The boring ones.
Thank you so much for saying that. And we talked about that too. We laughed about that. I mean, what's wrong with young people today? Because
Right.
Dennis said that I gave up St. James Power Station because of the internet.
Right.
And because of the internet, and people don't want to meet live anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's wrong with these people? I mean, Bernard, you would remember. I'm sure Michael, you too. Like me, we want to go out there and catch the girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's nothing like looking at women, you know, or women looking at men. Yeah, you know, being human, face to face, in the flesh, isn't it? But we're gonna know with this whole thing with the nightlife business in Singapore were to just die. I shudder to think, you know.
They will either die or they will suffer very, very badly. I mean, some big brand places we know have converted to restaurants right now.
Correct,
You know,
yeah.
so I think it's obviously not something that they wish to do, but it's just to stay alive and obviously pay the rental.
Sure.
You know, and coming back to what Dennis mentioned, I think at the end of the day, between fine dining restaurants and obviously a club business, there are different ways of operating. I think fine dining restaurants, as what Dennis mentioned, there's a limited number of capacity of tables.
Yes.
So if they're all full, they have 20 people coming, 20 guests coming, and therefore your 50 tables are booked. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, but for a club business, it's slightly different. I mean, at its peak, I'm sure all of us here would have seen that you get people ordering the 10 bottles of Dom Perignon,
Yeah.
5 bottles of Cristal
Yeah.
champagne. I mean, those are the nights that you go and kill it,
Yeah,
you know.
of
And
course.
and obviously, as a service provider, you make sure you provide the best experience ever.
Of course.
You have the scantily clad models bringing the champagnes out to them.
I don't know. I've never been to clubs where I've seen that.
Sparkles, you know, and then everybody, the whole club just stopped, you know. It's almost like this is the big man who's here, you know.
Yeah.
And after like 15 minutes, another table will start. So
Yeah.
that sort of chemistry, I think we're going to miss it now. I think it's not going to come back again.
Wow.
I
Well,
think
that
so.
last statement, I don't think it's ever going to come back again.
For a while.
Okay.
For a while,
Because you made it sound so final.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
no, for a while,
For a while,
qualified.
for sure.
For a while.
Our hope. That's our hope too.
Yeah.
You know, we in nightlife, I often say, we sell one thing. We sell atmosphere. To me, atmosphere is broadly defined as number of per area space.
Right.
The more they are, the better the atmosphere.
Correct.
Until it's saturated, you know, or congestion, or discomfort. But generally, the more people, the better atmosphere.
Sure.
Today, the reverse will happen.
Correct.
The less people, the less the fear.
Yes.
You know, the fear factor will come in. But over time, the hope is this fear factor will subside, especially if there's a vaccine, real vaccine been discovered. Over time, this thing should subside. And let's hope. That is I think is the global hope. But now that we speak about nightlife, we are the first to be closed and the last to reopen. You know, so however, the duration between closure of night sport and reopening of night sport in any country will actually set the level of the interaction by the authorities.
Right.
The shorter the span, that means the quality of that interception is there. If you understand what I mean, because broadly speaking, all over the world, everybody is facing with this. Like you mentioned, Korea, Japan, even USA and Australia.
Sure.
And this is actually the benchmark where you will, to me, it's if you can reopen and safely reopen in the shortest period of time, night sport, then you have done a great job. I think that is the benchmark. I believe, I just thought of this right now. Because everybody is using nightlife as if it's something that they will never want it to open. But set it as a benchmark. If you can have the confidence to reopen night spot and reopen safely, then you have done a great job.
So this
In
is,
between,
this is-
that's what I meant. You know.
But Dennis, you said you said two things that's kind of interesting, to me. Let me ask one of these. Let me point out one of these first. Benchmark. Using, say, for example, as you said, Japan, South Korea as a benchmark, because things have happened.
Yes.
Second wave came in Korea because of the night spots. Japan, if I'm not mistaken, the same thing. What if Singapore, we are the ones that work innovatively, come up with ideas, and be the benchmark for the rest of the world? You know what I mean? What if great ideas come about for night businesses to resume and yet keep things safe?
So,
Can we set a benchmark? Do you
Okay.
think that's possible?
I just give you an example. I mean, now that we are going deep into it.
sure.
Now, the thing is, I look at an incident that happened in Holland Village
Yes.
not too long ago.
Lorong Mambong, yes.
I was reading the article, and I said this could have been avoided
Correct.
if we have anticipated. And of all time, they open on weekend, Friday night.
Sure.
If I were to open, I would open it on a Monday, so
Yes.
that the system can get state itself. That's one point. Second point is knowing that if the pent up is there, then we shouldn't take chances. Then we should coordinate with operators, prevention in case something of that nature happens.
Okay.
But it happened. But there were a few errant ones, of course. That just opened and just wanted to rake in the revenue.
Sure.
So that's one example. Another one is looking at what we have now. Like I mentioned earlier, not just restaurant capacity is curtailed. Some other facilities are also, whether food and beverage, they are actually having lesser capacity than before. So if we are allow more of these open spaces, then you compensate their capacity.
Correct.
There you go. There you go.
And actually outdoor is safer than indoor. We all know.
Yes.
So these are measures if we put in place, and we can be the benchmark if we try, because if any country can do it, I think Singapore is one of
Yes.
them, because we are
Yes.
well regulated,
Right.
Sure.
and then any messages that the authorities put, especially in this time,
We will respect.
yes, everybody, and I'll take it. Holland Village may be a blessing in disguise.
Right.
For sure.
Because
yeah,
from there, then everybody else, if anything that positive can happen at Holland Village, then every operator, when they are allowed to open, it is not a right but a privilege. So they will treasure that.
Right.
And then everybody will be cautious. And then we will go through this and take, of course, we got to take our position with enough measures and scrutiny of the system this precinct is going to set up. Then we may be the one that will set the benchmark for the world.
Actually, talking about benchmark,
Sure,
let me do it. Okay,
Sure,
I just
please.
want to throw and get everybody's thoughts on the 250 packs mice thing, which is happening in October,
Yes,
which is
that's
not
right.
far away.
Right.
I think that is a good start. I
Right.
think, how do we police that? How do we ensure that the measures are in place, and obviously you don't take the 251 packs for your sessions? What are your thoughts about that? Is this a possible world standard gauge that we can use?
You're asking me. Okay, my thoughts
everybody,
about that.
yeah.
Well, first of all, it is only appropriate. See, I'm a kind of guy that also see things from the economic perspective. If we don't start to calibrate some amount of opening up, then I tell you, Singapore is going to get worse in terms of our economy. As it is, with this deep recession that we're in, we're already at independence, at a point of our independence in 1965. And that's serious, So we need to do something about this, and notably, tourism is one of our cash cows. And then when you take a look at Suntec City, half of the staff have been
gone.
retrenched. So this is MICE. These events are MICE, and they have got to be applied to the government. I think, yes, you're right. It is a step in a direction that is I welcome. How we police it, I think we can, because culturally as a people, we are kind of disciplined. We're more disciplined than most. Let's acknowledge that. I do. I acknowledge that fact. That we will we will follow the rules. We will even come up with extra rules on our own as private entities, to make sure it works. My concern, Bernard, honestly, my concern, the night operators is, yes, it is a challenge. It is a very big concern, major concern. That's a macro picture. I see my friends suffering.
Yep.
My musician friends, my club DJ friends,
Event organizers.
the event guys suffering, mate. And I've never in my life seen these people resort to doing other things that I cannot imagine. And what's also sad is that I've heard stories. They try to apply for the self-employment sort of support scheme, the SIRS scheme. And the people handling the front line with these guys, they kind of scoff at them. Oh, so you're the MC, okay lah. Why do you think about switching jobs if you're a musician? And I've honed my skill for 15, 20 years, and you're telling me to give it up? People have got to stop, giving the assumption or even the impression that music is gonna die.
Right.
And I've always said this: the moment a country loses its music, it's lost its soul. So
I'll agree with that.
yes, sir. And
Oh, drinking
I
for
mean,
that.
yeah, cheers, man. Cheers, guys. But you know why?
Cheers.
Because you think about this, music in Singapore would not be what it is without Mr. Fu. Seriously.
Don't say that.
No, I mean, no, I don't.
After
I
you
would
say it
not.
often enough, people will believe it. Like,
They ought to believe it because it's true. I mean, come on, guys. We all can attest to that fact. That without Dennis Fu and Europa, we would not have had the great musicians we've experienced.
Correct.
Right? We would not have had that band explosion in Singapore. Guys like me, when I was younger, I would look at these guys, and aspirations start to be built, in a lot of young people. And I told Dennis this when we shot the episode together. My worry is not so much about the night business being able to survive and all that. It is they have to survive because these people need their jobs back. Also, event organizers. I mean, we can't reach a stage where, before the social distancing, don't get me wrong, it's not wrong, but where people start to really make it a big part of their lives, even after a real vaccine, which I want to ask Dennis about this,
Yes.
real vaccine, even with a vaccine, right? And it says done. Let's say it's all gone, it's done. And we can never go back to normal, no doubt, but some semblance of our past pre-COVID lives comes back into play. And all of a sudden, you know what? Hey, you just don't sit so close to me. And then, the song from the Police will come out, don't stand so close to me.
Right.
And then it becomes a way of life. And that's what I worry about. So the events must come back.
Yeah.
yes.
It has to. I'm talking about our local events. I'm not talking about MICE events.
Right.
Actually, 250, when you look at the number, it seems large. Because
Actually, it's
here
not.
we are limited to 5.
Correct.
250 is a lot.
Yeah.
It's like,
Correct.
you know how many times 5. Now the thing is,
10 wedding tables.
yes.
25 wedding tables.
It's
Sorry.
25, but the wedding table will be 50. I believe so. Each table will be 5. Okay?
Right,
I think so.
Yeah.
But actually, 250 is relative. If you have a convention hall like Suntec, you can do a couple of thousand.
Oh, yeah.
Then 250 is nothing.
Nothing,
They
yeah.
still can do the distancing. So I think that factor is in there, because no point doing something that breach every aspect of or your past, stipulation. So I believe this must be in it. So 250, at least a big convention hall can go 250 or banqueting hall. So if you have a capacity of let's say 250 on normal times, I don't think you can do 250.
Yes, I
because the
agree.
distancing will still be there. So I think it's a good move. It's a start.
yes.
It's a start. We are all learning from this. I think everybody is learning, from each other, observing each country, and then operators observing each other, and then you have the ambassador all there to check. So basically, all of us are carefully treading it. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you don't push, then you just wait for everything to clear. Then that's not the solution for now.
Yes, correct. Correct. So, gentlemen, that's the reason why, the three of you guys are here. Okay? Dennis said something just now, which I also picked up, which is what I was trying to get to, and I'm glad he did what he said. What he did. If we become a benchmark, Singapore is not an unknown country in the world. We are the most recognized little red dot on the planet. So we innovate. If we innovate, like Dennis said just something just now, outdoors. I mean, if anyone can do it, Singapore, we can do it, right? Who leads the way? What do you guys think?
Who leads? As in
Who would
operator
lead?
or as in the government agency?
Let's think about how we're gonna bring back business to the nightlife, okay? And do it in a way that it becomes a benchmark for the rest of the world.
Right.
Who would take lead in this? Is it a stat board, or is it going to be an association? I mean, somebody's got to bind people together, get this done, right?
Combination of both.
Everybody.
Okay.
Okay, like for instance, I tell you about the 250 numbers. Why I brought it up? Because a friend of mine was trying to get married.
Right.
So it says now my 250 packs is approved. So I can do my 25 tables wedding. But he can't do it now yet because he's waiting for the approval to say I can do my 25 tables wedding dinner.
Right.
So this is what it is. So who takes the lead and who drives it first, whether it's a consumer or the operators.
So if an idea comes about, a couple of ideas come together, right? Who do these people take these ideas to?
No,
And
there are platforms. You see, one thing I know during this whole COVID, pandemic, there's no lack of effort, both by industry and by the agencies. There's no lack of effort. In fact, coming to this interview, I did to do some homework.
I'm sure you did.
So in fact, I read them before, but I just want to be clearer on the points. Now, in fact, the Singapore Nightlife Business Association, they have been very active, and because everybody, for the first time, I think in nightlife, everybody rally together because they want to open their business, and at the same time, also to meet all the requirements. Now, the thing is, I read this email. I'm aware of the happening because I'm still advisor to the association. Now, what happened is the Nightlife Business Association has engaged more government agencies I think they will ever do for maybe 20 years in 2 months. I see some of the engagement is like direct to the ministry, MPI, Ministry of Trade and Industry, STB of course, and then even MinLaw, because there's this rental issue where and there are Singapore Business Federation, Ministry of Manpower, ESG, Enterprise Singapore, so many government agencies within 2 months and intense engagement. So there's no lack of effort from the authorities as well as the people in the business. So, but everybody is aware of the challenges and how we're going to mitigate that. So that's why earlier on I said we should take it as a challenge. There are some situations which we could have avoided if we have spent more time if you focus on nightlife as the benchmark, because everything else is not, I won't use the word easier. Everything else
Manageable.
If you can manage nightlife, you can manage.
You do the tough things first, and everything else.
You
gets
understand where I'm
easier.
coming from?
Right.
This is where the angle is. So their focus must be on there, the challenge, And everybody succumbed. So ET1 happened. One guy went around several clubs, and then everybody all over the world take a back seat and let's wait and see what else happened.
Right.
But we shouldn't take that negative
Wait and see attitude.
Yes,
right?
reactive approach. We should take a proactive approach.
Correct.
And watch this. And like I mentioned earlier, some of it can be avoided if you anticipate it. So you engage the operators. I mean responsible operators, not those who want to make a quick buck in the shortest period of time. But really long-term players, engage them, and get the solutions.
On August the 9th, Dennis, actually the association, the Nightlife Association, there was an article on what they said that
I was the founding president.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
I am not in the least surprised that you.
Alright, let's give it another drink.
Yeah. Yes. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
No, this thing is potent.
It is.
Very good. So we can
It
top up
is.
for you.
It's a compliment.
Yeah, it is a
Thank
compliment
you.
because it's so potent. Okay. Yeah, it's clearing my nostrils actually. Anyways, there was an article on August the 9th, and the association were talking about it. What I said earlier, if they're not going to open, and that was August, they said by September or October,
Close down.
they're finished. Yeah. And then they were asking about how they could best work with landlords about the rents, because it's going to go, it's going to be done. They start chasing already for rents. So I'm not surprised what Dennis had said, that even Ministry for Law has been contacted by the association, etc., etc. But what I'm more interested to know is the three of you guys are seated here. If there's going to be a brainwave top of head, what Dennis has said, benchmark, Singapore can do it. We do outdoors now. Outdoors, one factor that's just been brought up. Bernard, what do you think? What else can be done to maybe something innovative that we can safely open the nightlife businesses again in Singapore?
Right,
Then
for
Michael,
sure.
I'll come to you next.
For sure, I don't have anything innovative, but I just want to comment about rental. I think in most F&B outlets in our business,
Yeah.
rental was certainly the key component of the cost.
Bugbear, you mean?
Totally. I mean, F&B will tell you that 30% is cost of goods, right? So if you sell a bottle of whiskey at $200, it costs probably like $70.
Yes.
you know.
COG.
COG. Oh, wow, like COG.
Of course,
Very good.
I know COF as well. You'd be surprised.
So COG, 30%. So rental was a very, during my time, it was a very huge component
Right.
of the entire operation cost. Not sure whether I should say this, but I should just hint. When I was in Live Brands, we took up 1/3 of Clarke Quay.
Yes.
1/3.
1/3, 80,000 square feet.
Yes.
All right. Every month at the beginning of the third week, me and my CFO have to sign a check. It's a double signature because it's so huge, right?
Yeah.
It was like,
Then that's for rent.
yeah, it's just for rent.
Oh gosh.
So you think about it. Even today, I tell to my Kopi friends, that this was the numbers that we were paying out for rental.
You're not going to mention a number here, right?
I don't don't think it's very nice.
Give
to
an
mention.
estimate lah. Two figures.
Look at
rather
my fingers.
5 figures
Look
or
at my
6
fingers.
figures.
Look at my fingers.
Look at his fingers.
Okay, I'll look at
I'm
your
not going to do it again.
I'm still not saying anything, Dennis.
Dennis would know. I would not mention a number. I will still remember the number. So me and my CFO, they have to sign. So one signature and second signature. So it was just ridiculous numbers. It was just, if you do the math, it was just not possible. Based on the numbers that we were taking in,
Right.
it was just not possible.
Not
It's so much so
possible.
to the point that I even tell my friends that I'm not going to do this particular business if it's my father's money. It's just, the math just didn't work out.
So you're saying it's not equitable, not tenable. Really?
Keeping in mind the 30% cost of goods.
Right. Ouch.
On the way here, I had to do some homework, like I said.
On the way here.
So actually, we are very proud, in the sense that one of our, fellow operators, Edward Chia, Timber,
Yeah, Timber.
is now an
MP.
elected member of Parliament. I heard he made his maiden speech. I heard, but today I saw. Before coming here,
Okay.
I want to know the contents.
Oh, I haven't seen.
And I'll send it to you. It's in the link. I think he has done us proud.
Okay.
Very good.
And why do you say that?
Wow.
Well-
just that word, just that word.
We drink to
Okay.
that.
I'm done with my coffee.
For
though.
Nightlife to come so far from where it was yellow culture and all back in the 80s, 70s, we have one member who is in this business, who's
Who's
now
in it?
treasurer
Okay.
of the association
Okay.
in
Right.
Parliament. To me, I'll drink to that.
Is he going to do something about this conundrum?
He's done it. He said it.
Okay,
Yes.
what did he say?
He has said it.
He had 5 points.
Okay.
The first 4 points are more structural. His 5th point is the fair tenancy framework. In fact, the fair tenancy framework, we've been at it for more than a decade. It was first mooted by former MP Cynthia Phua.
Yeah.
I think she's retired now. And there was so many, essence in her proposal.
Right.
And fair tenancy framework is something that I think the authorities look at.
You're right, Michael. We talked
Supply
about
demand.
that, didn't we?
Spoke about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Supply and demand. When the demand for space is so high, the supply has the bargaining power. Today,
It's
They
flipped.
were-
It's flipped. It's flipped.
so this is the time, but it's a fair thing. It's not as if you're exploiting, operators are exploiting.
Yeah.
There's no need for
Yeah.
exploitation. In his 14-minute speech, I saw 14 minutes, all of it in one go. Now, he mentioned that landlord and operator should work together. And one point he made was interesting. He strike a chord. He says that if an operator does well, he will need more space.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So this is a long play. So I'm happy that something like that is tabled in Parliament.
This sounds good. Because Michael, I remember us speaking about this. Plus our other guests, our other kakis on the show, and the particular one that you were on, and we talked about how lopsided tenancy agreements can be, and mostly in favor to the landlords.
Totally.
Completely.
Totally.
Supply demand.
Okay, guys,
Totally.
you must know. Okay, let me tell you, you were surprised that I knew about COG. I mentioned COF, especially if you have food involved, right?
Right.
That's because I had a club and a restaurant business in Indonesia, right? And let me tell you something, that one's a totally different ballgame.
Totally.
Very low cost of space.
Oh,
Totally.
no.
Cost of labor.
Let me tell you
cost of
something, it
labor.
is a hell of a lot better to operate in Singapore.
Okay.
Off camera, I'll tell you.
Please elaborate because you said it already. Better follow up.
You better tell us why. Yeah.
Now he's doing my job.
No, we're all doing each other's job.
Totally,
For the
totally.
sake of
No, all I want to say is this. Dennis has said this in the episode that you were on together with me, that you don't want to venture outside, like Vietnam, remember?
No, that's different. That elements. Elements.
Same thing.
Elements.
There were also elements of a different sort
Okay.
from where we were. And there were things that Singaporeans don't, not used to handling, which I did.
We're clean. We're good people. We're all clean.
No, so am I. I'm also
Yeah,
clean.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we
Yes.
know.
And then when you're there, right, I'm clean. Yeah.
Right.
I still have to qualify that, make people watching,
Yeah.
And you're gonna get used to things like labor demonstrations and stuff, and how I had to put some of them down. That's only the tip of the iceberg. And I've learned one big lesson in life: don't do things you don't know how to do, lah.
Yeah.
You know, and the food and beverage business, I tell you guys, like you guys, I take my Peaky Blinder hat off to you because let me tell you, it is a darn tough
Totally.
bloody business to do,
Totally.
man.
So
Yeah.
3 of us, you take your hat off us, only in Singapore. Outside of Singapore, no.
That is a very good point. I just want to. You talk about outside Singapore, yeah, Chris. I just want to add because I spent 2 years in Phnom Penh. I was working there. All right.
Wow.
This is Cambodia.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
So as an expat, I was paid to be able to get a nice apartment, a loft apartment, which is the Prime District, which is near the Royal Palace. That's how good the district was.
Wow.
Okay. So it's almost like an Orchard Road.
Yeah.
So basically, I was there. So obviously, nights that I wanted to have a drink, I walked to this very nice bar, just like 200-300 meters away from my place.
Right.
Very well decor. It's like a hotel bar that you find in Singapore. I waited for a house pour, as a F&B house pour.
House pour, yeah.
House pour is a lower grade alcohol, right?
Yes.
So you go to the bar, so okay, can I have like a bourbon Coke. The bill came $5-6 US.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the hell? Is this in $10 in Singapore? Can you get that in Orchard Road?
No way.
No way. Can't get a Coke for $10.
course. Yes.
Happy hour you can some places.
Some places. Some places.
Some places. Yeah.
So that was I figured out that it was just impossible to do this F&B business here.
Yeah.
And I thought the reason why was really largely due to the rental cost and obviously the staff cost. I mean, the staff cost there was cheap, right?
Yeah.
The rental cost obviously was cheaper because properties are owned by grandfathers, grandfathers,
Yes.
hand me down. So it was different math altogether.
Yes.
Compared to the so-called big guys here who own the
But
properties.
culturally, business culture there, commercial culture there, culture per se, completely different.
Totally.
And it's so hard to understand it, but even catering to consumers there, right? You give stuff that is probably very much welcomed in a country like ours, that is like shunned elsewhere. You gotta understand how these people think, and it's so hard to when you're not one of them. And also not forgetting, there's also the other elements that we're talking about, where you've got to make sure you're left in peace.
Sure.
You know, whether they are the people in authority or whether they are people in authority in some other forms, you know. So there are a lot of things to consider. Oh gosh, that's a nightmare.
But I believe that sex still sells.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Beautiful hot girls, you still work.
Yeah. I agree. But dependent.
Not just in clubs.
Yeah.
In print itself. So,
Everywhere.
in print itself.
But coming back to the topic, our concern, of course, is our lovely little nation of ours. Yeah. Dennis said outdoor. Let's build on that. What do you guys think? What else can we do to see that maybe a good idea for the night businesses to reopen and to start being alive again?
I think the interesting reference point, I think, right now, strangely enough, is really Wuhan. Right, China has come back big. Wuhan, all the clubs, the big dance clubs, and all of that.
They've opened?
They've opened and they're in full
Ram.
blown.
Wow.
So fingers crossed that nothing happens.
Yes.
But right now, they are open, business as usual, doing extremely well. It's packed.
Why do you think that? In Wuhan? Especially in Wuhan.
Before Michael attempts to answer, can
Yes.
I just say that in China, it's totally different from Singapore.
We've been talking about that.
I used to party in Zhuhai.
Yeah.
They are packed on a Monday night, Sunday night, Tuesday night.
Yeah, but Bernard, come on. I mean, I'm sure people will, even if they're, no matter how culturally different they may be, you think about this, it's Wuhan. It's the center of where this all started.
It's all about the nationalistic culture.
Correct.
So you're saying...
They want to prove a point.
They want to prove a point.
You know, and
Okay.
the point is not easy to prove.
Right.
Because if this thing can move,
It can
they
backfire.
can backfire.
Definitely it's not easy to prove.
Yes. So they are psychological social distancing. They'll take personal precaution, but not just for themselves. They want to prove a point because they was deemed to have started it.
Yes.
You know, our so-called the November the 3rd, hopefully, you know, November the 3rd, you know the day. So
When there's a change
I
of
don't want
world
to say
power.
the name, but
change
I
of
say
world
the
power.
name, yes.
Oh, okay,
So-
okay, that
so
one. You mean that? You mean
it's
that
all
orange
of them.
freak?
So
That
they want
orange
to prove
freak
a
in the
point,
US. Yeah.
you know. So it's interesting to see that.
Yes.
And let's observe that.
Sure.
You know.
But
for them-
Xi Jinping said something yesterday, right?
You said
Like
anything.
exactly what you said.
He said China did the best.
Yes, exactly what Dennis said.
China
So
did
it's
the best.
nationalism.
First country rather to come back to the business and to bring up the economy.
Yeah, it's no joke, you know. Singapore, we are city-state, island state. We all surrounded by water. You want to close it, can.
Yes.
China want to close it, borders. Even within China, is multiple countries want to divide it.
Right.
So it is tougher than anybody else, and it's 1.4 right B
Yeah.
population, right?
Yeah.
So it's no joke. And this nationalistic, and then of course the patriotism aside, nationalistic approach is in everybody.
Yeah.
And they have the spirit. Now I'm not saying China is the best in everything, but really to reopen, we observe them. But if they can do it, anybody in the world can do it.
How about Taiwan? Haven't they opened up?
They have. Taiwan has been
Exactly.
super safe.
But why aren't
They're so close.
we
to
should
China,
be
but they've
looking
done
at
very
them
well.
as an example,
For
right?
sure. For
Isn't
sure.
it? But no one seems to be talking about them. I mean, we know why the WHO doesn't.
No, I think they have done why? That's the mission. So, you know, but my the thing is, WHO for what it is, I think they're doing the right thing. They don't go overboard, they don't retract, but what's your view? Maybe you
My
you
view
differ.
is that they shouldn't play politics. They shouldn't put politics into this thing.
No,
Just
it's
because
not
of
politics. It's
Taiwan
just,
and China. You know, that's the reason why. They could have jolly well gone to Taiwan, speak to the VP, the vice president, who's an epidemiologist, anyway, and ask, how did you do it? And let's admit to the fact that these guys have got it done right down pat, didn't they? I mean, they got it done right. They got it done right. Your booze is coming out from Taiwan, you know? And just think about this, right? So, anyway, China, you said earlier, Dennis, the true vaccine.
Yes,
What's
I
in
caught
your-
that.
what's on your mind?
Not the one before November 3rd, though. Not the one before November 3rd. Yeah?
that's the definition of a fake vaccine. Okay,
Whoa. Hang on. We got Russia. We had Russia. Russia came up with one, right? Right. So far, there's been no news about any adverse conditions or symptoms from those who've taken it. China has got two. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they said that it would last for 3 months or 3 years. 3 years.
Months and year, worlds apart.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I just can't remember. So,
And-
so I don't want to say the wrong thing.
And
So
AstraZeneca just paused their trials
Yes,
recently.
that's the UK,
UK.
AstraZeneca. But what happened to the one
There
in
was
Singapore?
major side effects, right?
Side
Oh, there
effects.
were.
Yeah.
But the one in Singapore, NUS and Arcturus.
I tell you one
was-
thing.
No.
I tell you one thing.
13.
If NUS, ours say this is it, I believe it.
It was out in the press, right, Bernard? Have you read
It
about
was,
that?
it was, but I've not heard further news about that, so I'm
The-
not sure what stage is it right now.
Oh, no, they've given human clinical trials. It was out in the press.
No, I've heard that, but I've not heard
was in
about the
print.
progress. I've not heard about
The progress, correct. So we have got 30 million vaccines exclusively for Singapore. And our own health authorities have given it the green light. Pending, of course, this next batch of if I'm not mistaken, 1,000 human trials, locals. So I'm kind of thinking that October, they said October it should be ready for, the inoculation should be ready. So one shot inoculation.
Part of the process is not the.
Well, it's supposed to be ready for us at that time in October.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Go find out. Go read the article. May I also
now
have
let's
one,
talk
please?
business.
My God, I really fell off the wagon. I'm rolling on the ground. Thanks very much.
Dry.
Thank you so much.
yeah.
This is great whiskey, man.
That's- Okay, that's
Finish
about
the bottle
as
already.
much Ribena I can
Hey,
get.
this thing
Thanks.
is in my blood, you know. So it gels, means it's there. You know?
So,
By the way, this is a whiskey, the Orientalist
Wow,
whiskey.
the Orientalist,
It's
yes.
a company, it's a group that's funded by Michel Lu. So please order, go to the
Yes,
website
yes.
and check out.
Can I take
It's
it
not
from you?
bad, huh? You see,
No, can I take it from you?
I'm marketing that for you.
Commercial break. Commercial break.
No, I've been whiskey drinking all my life. sorry, the whiskey is talking. But I've been a whiskey drinker all my life. Now, this is a whiskey.
Yeah.
This is a whiskey. Okay, cheers. Cheers.
Sorry.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers.
Yeah, really.
My goodness, this is not Kopi anymore. Please change your title for this particular episode.
No, it's not Kopi. But if you were to change it to whiskey with Chris,
Wow. I get more viewership.
exponential growth.
Totally.
And if you're watching Mulan, do not watch Mulan without the dragon whiskey from the Orientalist.
You know why? With Kopi,
Uh-huh.
we talk too much sense. But with whiskey,
We don't do it.
we just
It's
talk.
all gonna be nonsense. Here we go.
Cheers.
Okay.
Just Chris, good
Sorry.
job.
Hey,
good
cheers,
job,
mate.
good
Thank you
job,
so
good
much.
job.
Thank you. Cheers.
Wow.
Whoa. Okay.
We control the sip, and we regulate the speech.
We regulate the blood circulation at the same time. So, guys, really, Dennis said outdoors. What do you think? Add on to that idea.
You were saying something. Michael was saying something.
Yeah,
just
Michael,
now.
please.
No, I was just referencing Wuhan or China as,
Yes.
as a benchmark. I think right now they are pushing forward.
Yes.
I think Dennis has a good point, that we need to do something. We cannot sit back and watch and wait. I think it is time to do something, but with in a smart way. And maybe the way forward is to just focus on one or two outlets and do it well. Manage it well with the right regulation, the right controls, and test that. If
As a
it
demonstration.
works, if it works, then roll it out a little bit more. But obviously, they need to work with a good operator.
Right.
And clearly, there are some that are familiar to all of us. And I think, I'm no longer in that business, but I think there are people who can
Yes.
do a good job.
In fact, I'm happy that three of us are here. We're no more in the business. We've
Yes.
got no vested interest.
Right.
But the fact that we came from the business, we have quite a bit of understanding of it.
A bit.
And right now,
That's
whatever
an
we say,
understatement.
whatever we say, actually is for the industry,
Sure.
the betterment of the industry.
Right.
And as it is, I often said this: nightlife is a small proportion of hospitality, which is not a big proportion of tourism.
Right.
And in tourism, it's 5% GDP. So you see, in nightlife is like this.
Yeah.
So people don't take us seriously. But I can tell you, nightlife is an integral part of hospitality,
Of course.
which is a big contributor to tourism.
Yes.
I use not huge, not big, but huge contributor to tourism.
Right.
And tourism, though it's 5%, it sets the tone to define Singapore as a city to live, work, and play,
Right.
which attracts investment. That's
Right.
the equation.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You
It's
know,
a city to be in.
Yes.
yes.
And I also just want to add, sorry, Danny, just want to add that I think about open door, outdoor events or locations, I think Singapore, compared to other parts of the world, we have one big disadvantage is the weather. So we need to get that right.
Yeah.
So whether it's air conditioned or fans
Right.
blowing, so that because we're not like the Spanish islands
Yes.
and
Yeah. Costa
Ibiza,
del
right?
Sol,
So it's different,
Ibiza,
right?
yeah.
So I think if we can get the weather right, I think.
We can't get the weather right, is there?
Yeah.
You just stick
But we can do things
stick
around.
chili and
We can
garlic
do
on the
things
ground,
around. I mean, Michael had a great place in Dempsey years ago, Hacienda. It was a
Oh.
perfect place, right? But somehow the weather was just obviously not the best to fit that kind of setting for the event, the location. So weather is very important. So let's not forget that.
I agree.
So having a wet weather program drafted for something like this, lah. Right? But hang on, guys. You see, we're getting somewhere here. So I think, as Dennis said, the three of you are no longer in a business. but it's a wealth worth of experience.
Okay.
Right? From the three of you put together, my goodness gracious me, you know, I mean, it's like, it's going to be an epic movie in the making kind of thing, you know. Really the Goodfellas. Now, if I ask the three Goodfellas here, who's now wondering why the hell they're drinking now, I'm talking to them about this, all started to drink, okay?
Yeah. Tell me.
The three of you come together and write a white paper.
Wow, talking about white paper.
And then give it to Edward's hand.
Edward Chia.
Yeah.
No, I think a lot of things are okay. It's not just about the big picture, but the small little things.
Yeah.
The first experience that I learned in Life Brands when I was sort of becoming the CEO, when we launched this humongous Cafe Del Mar in Sentosa's Beach. They spent $300,000 building a swimming pool and a whole outlet, and all happy. Opening day, who was clapping? Opening day was me. Right? Opening day, it was opening night. We had Pete Tong playing.
Oh wow, okay.
Big ass crowd there. Did I just say ass? Okay, big crowd there.
It's
Censor,
fine. It's
censor.
It's
Okay.
podcast.
Okay. Then after that, almost at the next week, I received a complaint from a hospitality establishment, which is like
Hotel.
You know, like I don't always mention the name. It's a good man. Like
Hotel.
150 meters
In
away.
Sentosa, yeah.
In Sentosa, next to Cafe Del Mar.
Yeah, the one next to Cafe Del Mar, yeah.
So he said, I went to see him many times. So he said he couldn't deal with it because your sound was just vibrating, and the rooms were like bumming the bass.
Here we go, yeah.
So in the first place, who gave us that plot?
Exactly.
And after spending so much money, this is not a push cart we push there and sell char kway teow, you know.
Yeah.
But this is like we spend hundreds of thousands renovating the place,
Yeah.
and he tells us to get out.
Exactly. It happened to me. And mine's worse because the hotel complained, sent their people down to my place and literally turned off my entire AC.
Huh?
Yeah. Boom. No sound. And stood there. And disallowed my staff to switch it back on.
This is your
And overseas.
Overseas.
It can only happen there. It cannot
Indonesia.
happen in Singapore, you know.
Indonesia.
Overseas, yeah.
Was it?
Just want to clarify.
Right?
that.
Was it Indonesia?
I'm not saying. One of those places.
Okay, at least
you know?
we put the question in the air.
Yeah.
So,
You
So,
know,
but that's
those who
why-
know me
so-
well know.
So it means that so for us it was also there were so many weekends that Saturdays was just slammed. You know, was packed. The some beds were fully packed.
Yeah.
And then they call me, hey, come down. I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
Police are already here. You know,
There you
so it was just
You know, this is also the same issue we have. You know, this is outside of the COVID situation. Yeah? Even before the COVID happened, in the neighborhoods, for instance, I'm going to say it, in the east side of Singapore, notice.
let's just run up East Coast GRC.
yeah.
Okay, so go censor that.
No, you don't have to censor it. I don't think it's their fault, frankly. I'm if you're talking about the GRC, no.
Okay.
The neighborhood of the East Coast. Imagine there, and it's true, and it's a fact. Across the East Coast, from Upper East Coast down all the way to Joo Chiat, with the exception of one bar with a two-piece acoustic, there are no live bands.
Yeah, I know that. When was this?
Yes, it's true. It's
When
true.
was this? Years.
Mr. Fu
even
can
now,
find,
even now.
Mr. Fu can find out for you.
Even last 2-3 years even.
The first one was at the Barrel Siglap.
That was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah, but this is recent years, since the 2011 elections
Okay.
onwards. This I'm just using that as a
So
time
they
marker.
they
Yeah.
got their license
Okay.
before 2011.
After 2011, it's very hard for outlets to get
Okay,
an
fair enough.
entertainment license. Okay.
So they got it before 2011.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after that, right, there seems to be this issue because of this issue with the Joo Chiat area at the time.
Its residents complained.
Yeah.
Vietnamese
line.
title.
Yeah, not just that. But then it also became complaints. You're right, Dennis, from residents. You know what I mean? Come on, Singaporeans, you gotta stop being so damn anal about this. Really. And you know what the beauty of it? Along Frankel, there was a place where there was just a two-piece band playing. And the two-piece band, it was just keyboards and a jazz drum set. And they were using brushes instead of sticks. So they kept the sound to a minimum, but beautiful music though. Even with that, complaints from the people behind me, the residents, the neighborhood behind the place. And you think about this, George. Oops, I'm not going to say that name. There's a club, a bar. There's a bar.
Say it.
Along in East Coast Park, and they've got great bands playing.
I know
Now,
it.
separated from them and the next, where the residential neighborhoods are, which would be HDB flats, would be the East Coast Park Expressway.
Oh, I think I know where you're talking
Yeah.
G.
But you G. The one with the G, the one with the
G.
Oh, bring it here, darling. Okay.
Ooh.
So
Wow. That's a gas But no. No.
thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you mean finish?
Different product.
Oh, no wonder.
different product,
That's
different
the
product,
fair
yeah.
enough.
So this is the next
So-
part. Let's give credit to the
Yeah.
Glenlivet
Yeah, Glenlivet.
sponsorship.
Glenlivet is a
15
great
years,
drink.
yeah.
I said it last time,
yeah,
so it's real.
It's- yeah.
Yours has a different punch. That's the. I don't know how to describe it.
So can you imagine? The cops come down. They get complaints about noise.
About G.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Across the.
Exactly.
But they're very far away from me.
Exactly. Don't you think that the road noise on the expressway
Yeah.
will be worse than what's coming out from the G?
Okay, I'm gonna share this.
Yes.
But this is gonna take like 5 minutes.
Sure, please take 5 minutes.
You know, I used to operate a venue at the then Orchard Parade Hotel. So
Now a restaurant owned by my friend. Okay.
So yeah, it was the KTV after, and then, okay, long history behind it, but
Okay, good.
that's where the venue was. So I had complaints about noise. You know, I used to get complaints so much that at 3 a.m. in the morning, my mind
Standard.
and I used to take sleeping pill. Sleeping pill to sleep early,
Yeah.
just to wake up at 3 a.m. just to see what the complaints were about if I had to go to sleep. So what happened is then the complaint came, and and then I had to see the complainant across the road, and she said, I said I hear the sound. The motorcycle is decibel
Louder.
is much higher than what.
dB higher
No,
than
I just
you,
can't stand the rhythm. I said, what rhythm? He said the rhythm of the stiletto hitting your spiral staircase in this rhythm.
What?
He's biased.
What?
So you understand where I'm trying to say? So complaints will come in different shapes. By the end of the day, it's a complaint.
Correct.
The authorities have to act. That's where the issue is.
There's a key point. Authorities have to act.
Yes.
So I think we're in a society that authorities will be responsible. So you need to hold the operator responsible.
Come on, guys. I mean, let me just say this one more time to anyone who watches this show. Again, Singapore, when we lose our music, we lose our soul. Okay, I mean, come on.
I would just
man.
drink, not saying anything.
You
else.
know, I if you guys were not my kakis today, I tell you an expletive would be flying out of my mouth, but I'm not gonna do it. I wasn't really. I won't.
Just do it for our
Just
sake
do
and
it for our
censor
sake.
it
We're all
later.
here. No.
I mean, okay, fine. Fucking stop. Really, because I've seen poor great bars, small little bars with great music shut down. Yeah, because of this stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
And people gotta stop making noise about every damn little thing.
Blue jazz.
That's
Thank you.
another place. Exactly.
Blue Jazz?
Exactly.
Hey, I like to say this.
Exactly.
I'm so happy. Eileen, you know Eileen?
Yeah, one of the owners, right?
One of the owner,
Yeah.
the owner, she
Yeah.
and her husband,
The
who
husband,
works
yes,
with Maybank. When they were closed, I must relate this story. Not a story, it actually happened. Then I read about this. Thank you,
Okay,
Bernard.
cannot hear you.
Professional teaching.
I'm a professional teacher. So come close to the
How to
mic.
speak
You might want to
properly.
also move the
Headphones is a
back up a
topic.
little bit.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Wow, this is I must do my best for this.
Yeah,
VIP
we're-
service.
Come on.
Okay.
Ah.
So, when I heard that Blue Jazz was closed, I had to find out why was it closed. So I went there, look at it. Then I studied the venue. Then I went upstairs, and I studied the venue. And then I said, because I know the business.
Right.
And I said, they shouldn't be closed. Because the problem wasn't downstairs, it was upstairs. In fact, when I went there, they thought, people know my face in nightlife, they thought I was a spy.
Investigating for that.
Trying to maybe do a,
Hey, hell, I would have thought the same, man.
yeah, don't blame them. So, then I realized because they are real promoters of music.
Right.
I thought they were just operating.
Yes,
Yes.
they were.
Then later I got to know them. I realized that they were Haji Lane. They have 5 outlets there.
Yeah.
They grew it from there and built such an enclave
Yeah.
that it's a tourist destination.
Yes.
It's a place everybody will be proud of, and it's organic. In the sense that the area has grown because they planted the seed and they did so much. So I had to fight for them. And you know what I did? I did so much. I met them, I met the husband, and then I wrote. And then they still lost it because it went to the appeals
Yeah.
board,
Yeah.
which comprised the people from all walks of life. It's not the authorities alone. And the final answer was negative. So, at least we fought for it. But our case was there. Because technically speaking, had the upstairs and downstairs has been 2 different licenses, downstairs would survive.
Sure. Yeah.
It's very technical. It's like law,
Yeah.
point of law.
Yeah.
So I put that. Then this January, Eileen called, thank you so much. We got our license back. Then I called the minister who was involved, and I said, hey, thank you. They got their license back. Then we want to celebrate, so we fixed the date.
Invited the minister down.
And we all went out, supposed to go down there, and then COVID came. My God, I wish that day would come.
Yeah. Anyway, the Blue Jazz, man.
Blue Jazz, the Blue
Blue
Jazz.
Jazz. Blue
Jazz.
Jazz. All right, Blue Jazz. Yeah. Well, guys.
It's it's this. When you talk about music, is your soul. This is it. This is one manifestation of it all.
Yes.
And you look at that space. I mean, all of us been to Blue Jazz, right? I counted there are 32 seats. There are 8 singers and musicians. How you compensate 1 to 4?
Yeah.
No way, no chance.
No way. It's not the dollars and cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
How they survived and get done well is because of the alfresco outside.
Yeah.
It sits about 80 to 100. That's the equation. Then when they want to make some money, they charge up upstairs for events.
Yes.
That's how they make it. So nightlife has many manifestations. It's quite.
But the bottom line, what Dennis trying to say is that it's a very, very tough
Yes.
business.
It is definitely a
Very
very
tough.
tough business.
Many successful people have done nightlife because they have the passion. I don't know why Michael and Bernard came to nightlife. I was brought into nightlife,
Yes, yes.
So but I think it's about this
Just,
certain inclination that we have.
just.
Okay, gentlemen, I just wanna, before I close off the show. I mean, we've been talking for like a long time today. I think my producers are giving me I think it's about time we
It's
stop.
about 1.5 hours.
More than that. I
Oh,
think.
okay.
I tell you, if the part, this one I think it was censored first. But the part when I just said you think it's too much, just take it off.
An hour and a
Because
half.
it's not live.
Hour and a half. You're right. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But I just wanna, just one final thing that I just wanna play with this. What do you think, guys? The 3 of you come up with an idea and propose it to the authorities and help save Singapore's nightlife.
Oh, this looks like it's a kind of question for you to answer.
No, it's for the 3 of you. It's not just for Dennis.
I
Hello.
was seafood.
not Sifu lah.
Our seafood.
Come up with a white paper or something. Something innovative. Pull us out of
my
this
whiskey is
conundrum.
further from me now.
Put the whiskey away, huh? I'll
Put the
mine
whiskey away,
too,
or put away.
No, when serious stuff are concerned, that's a
Yeah,
very
I'll
serious
put the
question.
whiskey. Serious question. Yeah.
Then sorry, you guys are handicap. I got a coffee. Wow. What do you guys think?
Contribute to Singapore.
No, we all been contributing.
No, don't get me wrong.
Wait.
But in this is an extraordinary. I say this so often on my shows until I've become such a parrot. But it is an extraordinary moment in history. You gotta agree with that.
Okay.
And if it takes the three of you to just come up with ideas to help pull the nightlife business out of this crisis, imagine, it's your legacy.
No, it's
If I
not
can
about
get the three-
legacy.
convince
It's
the
about
three of you
doing
to do it.
something we want to do. Because
You're right.
We've been there,
For the benefit
we've
of-
seen it, and we probably know what and how to do.
Yeah,
Probably.
I know.
But this challenge is big, huh?
Yes,
No,
of course.
It's because it's COVID.
Yes,
we're
correct.
not fighting against establishment. We're fighting against a pandemic.
We get the
It's,
Goodfellas to do it.
It's if we have the solution, many people around the world would probably have it.
That's true. That's true.
You know, it's a big challenge.
Sure.
But this is not a white paper. It is, it is not. Because the circumstances is unpredictable.
Yeah.
So, the baseline is shifting all the time.
Okay, let me change
So-
that
so
then. Not a
difficult,
white
yeah.
paper,
Okay.
right? A
Yeah.
proposal. Something that people could chew on.
We already said some here.
Yes, yes.
Benchmarking,
Formally
take
doing
it
it.
as a challenge. If
Yes.
you can deal with nightlife, you can do with anything else.
You
Correct.
see, we've got
That's
someone
one-
from the
one-
Privé
one
group
way.
previously,
Correct,
someone
correct.
from Life Brands previously, someone from Europa, from the Europa group, coming together, putting down all their ideas, thoughts, plans, details, and then producing it to either the association or to the authorities. Guys,
No, I know
this
the
could
channel.
work.
I know the channel.
Exactly.
It's the substance.
Correct.
If we have the substance, we will deliver through the channel.
Correct.
We all want to do it.
So
Correct.
But
imagine.
how to do it is the big question,
Correct.
Of course, I mean, it can't happen at this show. Of course not. I mean, it's not going to happen here. But I'd like to start the catalyst.
If it happened, we three of us, it came from here, okay? That's for the record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bottle of whiskey for you.
Thank you. I
think to
welcome
be-
that.
I think to be fair, it's not just about the operators. I mean, it's there are many people here to play a role.
Right.
I mean, while we were actively running the business, I'm sure Dennis or Michael will agree with me. It wasn't just about our business. It wasn't about 200 bartenders you hire,
Right.
or 300. It was about many other things. It was about obviously the landlord, the issue about the rental. I think that is real.
Yeah.
That is real.
Yeah.
And obviously the staff cost is something that I know everybody has to bring back a salary package,
Sure.
right? But if that is something that can be managed, it will help
Right.
the real operator.
Right.
It really frustrates me to see a passionate operator to kind of shut after 6 months or 24 months.
Painful,
because
man.
I
Yeah.
couldn't afford the rental.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was such a sad thing,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, because F&B is very much a passion. It doesn't make you a lot of money. We all know that. We all know that. But it's a passion. We do it because we want to provide something for the consumers, for the customers who come here.
Right.
Even if it's a neighborhood pub, it is still a passion because you want to give them a good time,
Correct.
have that 3 beers, and then head home and sleep peacefully with the rest of the family.
Yes.
So this is really what it is. So I think deeper thinking must be put in for
Agreed,
Our
Bernard.
people out there.
I agree, Bernard. That's the reason why I'm asking that the 3 good fellas come together and be good enough
No,
to
three
work
good
something
fellas.
out for the benefit of these people, these poor guys who are just struggling to survive, even
yeah.
to help them open up.
It pains me to see a operator who owns an outlet and he's so passionate about business but have to shut because of
Course.
cost.
On this show, QWC, Kopi With Chris, who has been bloody more whiskey than it's been coffee, I would just tell you, I'd like to start this to end the show. I'd like to ask the three of you, Lim, Lu, and Fu, to put
Lim,
pen to
Lim means drink. Blue means you.
to put pen to
Food
paper.
with an L, so that's not.
To put pen to paper.
just
Cheers,
joking.
guys.
Yeah.
To put pen to paper and see whether or not you could come up with some semblance of solution and hope for these people.
Okay, I want to share a few points, at
Sure.
this juncture. Actually, nightlife was a very lucrative business.
Was.
Here we go.
I use
Past
the past
tense.
tense. I tell you, in the 90s, my ROI, 3 weeks.
Cool.
Not 1, 3 outlets. Nobody can imagine we did ROI 3 weeks. And one of them ROI, then of course we set aside for taxes, then 1 month
Yeah.
return.
Yeah.
It went on for 11 years. Europa release.
Sheila?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went there before.
Been
I
there.
was appropriately briefed about that by your former guys, Jason and Anne.
Really? Oh, they were there. Yeah, Jason were there. They were the gingerbread.
Gingerbread,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So it was very lucrative. Very. I mean, 1 month
The
ROI.
most
It went
lucrative.
on for 11 years. It's crazy.
I'll ask
But-
the next question after that. Go on. Don't disturb me.
I'll take your question first. So
No,
that I can qualify my
I
next.
used to go to Ridley's a lot.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I used to like the DJ was playing back then. You see had long hair. So why was it so lucrative?
So cause and effect lah. Entry cost.
Ah,
It was an outlet that was well renovated by the hotel.
ah.
It did very well, but they became complacent, and then
dive.
and then we went in. The cost was not low, but it was like 60,000 a month. So you put 6,000 at $10 a square feet. In 1992, it wasn't
It
low.
was a humongous,
Yeah.
yeah.
But our investment cost was low,
Yeah.
so it was like 300,000.
Okay.
So, and we first month we did 550.
Wow,
And the margin
settled.
was there, and then those days we don't have all kinds of things to pay. That was the number. Second outlet was Pub 1997.
Gao Chat.
Gauchat, yes, you know Gauchat. Pub 1997 in International Building.
Yeah.
Before that was H2O.
Yeah.
I remember reading they spent 800,000 renovating it. They failed. We went in. I spoke to the liquidator. I said, if you were to reinstate this, cost you at least 100,000. I pay you 80,000 just to take over this. He agreed.
20% per discount, so jadi.
You know lah. So we went in, and then of course we could negotiate a better rent
Right.
because the outlet failed. And that entry cost low. Second, I'm saying everything, man. But anyway,
No, it's okay.
let the
Let
the nightlife revive.
cats come out.
You know. So what happened was the second factor is rent went down, entry cost low. Third one is you don't have to market it. You don't have to say where your space is.
Natural.
The former H2O, everybody knows.
Natural.
So for these 3 points, you have to have a good concept lah. That's the
Alright,
bottom line.
alright.
So that was that lah.
Yeah.
So it's not all that bad in terms of return then, but of course, over time, competition. Everybody fighting for the same pace. Everybody think it's so lucrative.
Yeah.
So hopefully, COVID, if anything positive that comes up for it, it bring it back to what it was before.
Yes.
When the competition is less
Yeah.
and the cost of operation is low
Yeah.
and the demand is not far from what it was.
Correct.
So if these 3 areas are met, we may have a revival for nightlife.
Sure, but the revival will happen only post-COVID. We're talking about now. Now, these guys are suffering today. So, let's say, for instance, an idea could be had in the next 1 month.
That's Mr. Michel Lu. Man. He's got
What
many
like that
ideas.
lah, you Bernard, ayo, wet blanket, no, this guy.
Oh, the idea is right. He's the smartest
Well,
man.
all it takes is the 3 of you guys going out for some more whiskeys together over the next couple of weeks.
No, you know, before
Coming
I
up
came
with an
here,
idea.
I was thinking, I said Michael got out of the business way before you and I.
Smartest.
That's what came across my mind. But smart to get out is one thing, and really smart to create something like that.
Correct. Even smarter to create something. Cheers.
Okay.
You know,
I've got to stop doing my sales pitch to you three guys.
It wasn't prepared this way, but I
Correct.
thought the thought came to my mind. It's real.
Yeah.
This is a real entrepreneur.
I mean, honestly, okay, let's look at the cameras, right? It's not easy because to kind of like you've been selling alcohol all your life, to kind of create your own whiskey,
Right.
your own vodka,
Of course.
your own gins coming soon,
And win awards, Michael.
and with the what?
It's not easy at all.
Not easy.
Michael had pivot for himself even before COVID came about. So it's cool, it's cool. But I'm not going to go on trying to do a sales pitch for the 2 or 3 if it come together.
It's a fact. It's not a sales pitch. We didn't prepare for this, but I tell you, this is deep in me. Like, between us. If we share it on air, so be it.
But I think there will be a lot more hope if the Goodfellas at my table, where they come together to, think of an idea and present it. So to help these people get out of this mess that they're in. I really hope that will happen.
I think we definitely would be more than happy to do.
Great.
Yeah, if we can, because we're out of the business, right?
Correct.
If whatever
No
we can give
competition.
back, we'll do.
No competition. It's really being very, what's the word to use now?
Magnanimous.
Well,
That's a big word.
magnanimous, yeah,
1,
sure,
2, 3,
but
4, 6, 7 syllables, 5 syllables.
no, there's
I use
another
the
one.
word. I thought a good word, but as much as the magnanimous, but it's a bit of patriotism,
Patriotism,
a bit, yeah.
This is the best. Okay,
Huh?
good.
It's a bit of that,
Yeah, lah.
and a bit of all peace, a bit of passion,
Keep it alive.
a bit of potential. I quietly.
But but guys, really, I think if you 3 really do this and come together and do this for the benefit of everyone, that's really right now in an absolute mess. Don't forget, it happened here at Kopi with Chris, or rather Whiskey with Chris. I'm going crazy with the branding now.
Before you go, can you bottoms up for all of us?
Oh,
Yes.
sure, man.
No,
Can I have my
no.
glass filled first?
Sure.
Then we have a real interview.
Oh gosh.
Okay, this is what I pour
You are aware, Bernard, that if this was mainstream, this show would never get on air, right?
not
Don't
really.
ask me that.
Not really. No, not really. I think.
Don't ask him
Because
that.
this is the essence of
The
it
essence
all.
of
And then
the-
we are controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course,
It's not
we're
just
control.
control. We just want to say what is right.
Correct.
We're
We
keeping
need
it
to
real.
say what we want to say.
Keeping it real,
Correct.
guys.
Yeah,
Keeping it real. But gentlemen, thank you so very much. Really, it's been awesome having you guys. And here's to all of you and your good health.
Wow.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
You were asking me to, right? Oh gosh, here we go.
Wow, this is wonderful. Thanks.
Producer, you're driving me home. Right.
you haven't drank a whiskey for like how many years?
Years.
Years.
The
Until
last time
last
was
one
with
you
Dennis.
put a whiskey. So
Really?
you drank lah. So now already in lah. So better put one there.
Let sound first.
Can you believe that these guys took their headphones off even before I can say goodbye?
sound first? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, sorry. So what are we supposed
Don't
to do?
worry about it. So, okay, everyone, we've had Michel Lu, Bernard Lim, and Dennis Wu. It's been quite a time. And no, we're not drunk. I think I'm not.
No, not.
So,
I'm
in any case,
full control of my faculties.
this has been the episode of the Goodfellas of Singapore. And hopefully they can come up with a great idea to help the nightlife business out of its current mess. And I'm Chris Henson. You've been watching Kopi with Chris. Catch us again for the next episode of KWC. Until then, stay safe.